What is up, everybody? I want to take a look at a Newegg Super Combo Shell Shocker that I've just received in my social media feeds. Basically, hey, Shell Shocker deal, i5 system for $350. And we're actually, no, they were advertising $346 after mail and rebate, but yeah, $356 if you don't want to bother with the rebate and stuff like that. Now, Newegg Super Combos, the best way I can describe them is starter kits. If you have absolutely nothing, one of these things might be the best thing for you. I looked at some of these super combos for upgrade kits and things like that for Tuxedo to Monolith and things along those lines in terms of bringing some parts along for the ride. But the big thing with this is the same exact thing that we used to talk about. I used to have these discussions all the time when I was building the Silver Bullet, and I was throwing around the idea of, oh, let's get a barebone kit, skip a few steps. When you get a barebone kit, you get someone else's bundle. You get what the company like Newegg wants you to have. And basically, yeah, there might be some hidden gotchas in there. Let's take a look at what's available in this thing. So this Shell Shocker deal, it's kind of like one of those flash sale things and whatnot. It's an i5 Skylake, non-K series, so 3.2 gigahertz on the chip. The i5s have a difference between K and non-K, just like the i7s do, but it's not as pronounced. So the whole thing with the i7 and a non-overclocking motherboard earlier, I think it's, again, paying for an overclock, and a decent one at that. Especially with the $20 price difference between those chips. I usually have seen more of a difference between them. And I have the wrong light on, so you're going to see it in the footage right there. I should have the other light on that's off that way so that you don't see the glare in the screen. But, oh well, let's get through this. So this looks like a cute little system. It looks like an old radio, actually, with the rose wheel case. But let's look at some of the details on here. First and foremost, i5, non-K, non-overclock, an SSD with no mechanical drive, and that SSD is only 120 gigs. You can get the OS off of that, but you'll be spending an additional $60 minimum if you want mechanical storage for lots of game installs. So, also, I don't see a graphics card anywhere in here, so even though the motherboard will support it, it's kind of like, it's similar to the board that I picked up, except it's an H instead of a B, etc. It looks like it has less serial ATA available as well, whereas the one I have has more ports going along the side, which I have a cable on order to fix the last one that the graphics card covers up. So it looks like this is an Asus board that is kind of a similar board to the one that I went with to start Monolith with. Core i5, non-K, so 3.2 gigahertz, 65 watts. It's probably a decent system, but the gotchas start popping up when you go through the various pieces of hardware here. So this is the same form factor board except with less serial ATAs. So if you have one optical drive, so basically optical drive, SSD, mechanical drive. Because it does have an M slot, so if you want to get one of those fancier circuit board ones that bolts straight to the motherboard, you can go with one of those. The case, however, is the kind of mini tower case that I would never get. It does kind of look like an old radio or an old television or something. It looks like something old. But if we actually get out of pictures mode here, the thing here is, does it say in any of the diagrams, look at that fan slot. That's an 80mm fan right there. The front fan is 120mm, but 80mm fans at this stage of the game is it's not going to have good cooling or it's going to be loud. One of those two. Let's actually look at the individual elements in here. The Rosewell FBM02. Oh yeah, we shouldn't use tabs when we're full screen like that. So here's the Shell Shocker combo. It's mentioning the Shell Shocker combo, a little $25 case. Here's the thing though, yeah, micro ATX. Specifications. You have an 80mm fan in the back. So hopefully you don't hear the RPMs. It's either not going to have good cooling, or it's going to be whiny or something like that. There is a 120 in the front though, but how does it get any air? Little thing on the side. There's little vents on the side, but that's about it. Unlike Monolith's case, oh, right, there we go. Unlike Monolith's case, can this even open? Give me some pictures of this thing. Nope, the front is what it is. So you basically have, like Monolith's case, except you can't open the door. It tries to suck air in through some side vents like that. Look at that crap. Plus the drives go this way, and the power supply's on top, so it'll be taking the heat from the board that's rising up from your processor and your graphics card. This is the old design. This was the ATX standard at one point. I actually have read where ATX wanted the power supply on top to help exhaust the heat from the system. Except power supplies and the cleanness of the power that comes out of them determines the stability of your system. If you get flaky, dirty power, it screws things up. You can get automatic restarts, you can get hard locks, you can get all kinds of crap. So you don't want the power supply getting any hotter than absolutely necessary. So to have it in the line of fire for the heat that's coming off of your processor, especially with an 80mm fan, this is making the Silver Bullets case look pretty good. Silver Bullets case had 80 mils, so other than that though, we have a 500 something, we have a 500 watt power supply. Is non-modular from the looks of it. What does it have here? 500 watts, ATX 12 volt version 2.2. What does it have for headers or something like that? Let's take a look at the power supply. Are there any gotchas? I know there's a gotcha with the SanDisk SSD. It's only 120 gigs. I don't use a drive that small except in portables that just run YouTube and stuff like that. You'd want to get a mechanical drive. Plus, what's also missing from that $350 price tag, Windows license. Now, you could Kingwin it for 20 or get the real deal, so to speak, for 100. But if you go the real deal, you're at $456. Now you consider, what's the going rate for a Core i5 off-the-shelf system like an Asus M series? Or something where you can just buy the box and hook it up and go. So it already has Windows installed. So you're approaching the $500 mark when you put in a Windows license. Plus, you probably pass the $500 mark if you want mechanical storage for a lot of game installs. Because you only have 120 gig SSD with this combo. Then, let's look at this motherboard. This is one of those gotcha motherboards that I've noticed in the super combos. Again and again and again, Newegg super combos have boards in them with only 2 RAM slots. It's like, what's the motherboard cost all by itself? The Asus H110M. It's a $62 board. So for like $20 more, $30 more, I got 2 more RAM slots, way more SATA ports. So yeah, it's a cheap board. But I keep seeing this in these super combos, upgrade kits, and full solutions. These boards, again and again and again and again, keep having only 2 slots for DIMMs versus 4 on just about every board I've had in the last 10 years. So, little gotchas here and there. Let's check out the Rosewheel Stallion power supply. Is there something wonky going on with the headers or something? Probably not modular. Oh, how'd I guess? Can we see any SATA headers on here? Let's look at the specifications. So we have how many channels for Molex, how many things for Molex, and how many channels for SATA. We have to bust out adapters or something like that. PCI Express, you got 2 six pins. So if you have 8-pin connectors, fortunately, everything's getting more power efficient, so 6-pin versus 6 plus 2-pin is probably going to matter less and less as the years drag on here, and stuff like that. Okay, so we got that, we got the motherboard, and it's Core i5, so no hyper-threading, so it will be an old-fashioned quad-core at this point. 8 gig, 288 DDR4, 2133, that's nothing exciting. That's what I have in Monolith, except I have 16 gigs. So is this a 1 stick? It looks like, yeah, 1 stick. Okay. But that's the thing. There's little hidden gotchas there. You could theoretically pick one of these things up, put it together, and say you built a computer. But I don't see I think what's going on here is the shell shocker price tag is basically the result of some key things being missing. No mechanical storage for lots of game installs. So you don't have a graphics card in there either. So this thing is going to cost even more in order to get a GPU in there. You're going to have gotchas with the motherboard, probably gotchas with the power supply, gotchas with the processor, and gotchas with the solid-state only storage. Nowhere to put game installs and things like that. So it looks like a deal, but when you get down to the nitty-gritty, you may want to consider, instead of just, oh, take the easy way, I'll get one of these and say I built a computer, you may want to consider learning what goes with what and actually comparing the numbers to a system that you build from scratch by picking all the parts yourself. Or, if you really want to be hack job about it, buy an off-the-shelf system and transfer it to an industry-standard case. I've thought about that a couple of times. If I ever get Dad's Lenovo back at some point, as he's had enough of it or whatever, I'll toss around the idea of seeing if I can mount that hardware in a more standardized case to allow for a larger power supply and more gaming potential. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But yeah, this is the thing. Newegg Super Combos. They're good starter kits for someone with no experience that has never built a computer before, but I really couldn't, even if I was building these things to turn around and sell them, I don't see how I could make any decent markup off of them. Because you go looking for full Core i5 systems, you'll find them around the 500 mark. Let's go take a look at some right now. Well, that didn't take too long, and I didn't have to go very far. I thought I'd have to look at maybe some other e-tailer's site that sells more complete systems and whatnot, but nope. Right here in Newegg's own backyard. The CyberPower, powered by an i5 6500, exact same processor. 550, but you'd probably go a little higher because there's only 4 gigs of RAM in this thing. A gaming PC with 4 gigs is rubbish. You definitely would want to get a RAM upgrade to go with this, but I can't imagine RAM's not that bad. I mean, $67 for a 16 gig kit when I built Monolith. Cut that in half, you know, still like under 600 or something to get another 8 gigs in this thing and bring it up to 12 or something. Or better yet, just get a 4 gig stick, bring it up to 8, and call it with that sucker. Also, Windows 10 Home, 64-bit, and even an entry-level GT720 NVIDIA card. So this thing already games, out of the box. And so you figure with the Super Combo, it's 300-something, but you'll add 100 with the Windows license, and then you'll add more to put a graphics card in there. Eventually, you get what? Something like this? But this has a case that's more conducive to... This has a case that's more conducive to the sort of... yeah, let's look at this thing. Audio ports. It even has an optical drive. Wait a minute. We don't even have that here. So that's another $20 if you want just DVD. So, oh yeah, if you want DVD, that's another $20, by the way. So those little gotchas in the Super Combo versus this regular priced CyberPower PC to start with. Although I hate the case. You hear all these people whining about coil whine. You find out their cases are more like meshes and stuff like that. Give it 2 more do more optical drives in there or something like that. Those covers look removable. If you don't mind the garish looking spaceship relic sci-fi inspired black and red. So let's see what we've got with this thing here. So there's the, come on, let me zoom in on this. He's like looking at it from miles away or something. Yay! There's the i5 6500 itty-bitty motherboard. Is that a mini ITX? But you consider, let's look at this board. Look, a PCI Express. So this is a very similar form factor to the board we're just looking at, but it's so tiny. It's probably already maxed out on serial ATA. Is it? Yeah, you might have to, that's the front USB. 1, 2. You might have some port problems with that if you want to add an SSD later. So no M2. So there's gotchas with this too. It's an off-the-shelf system. So what exactly does it have for storage? Specifications, please. It's got a mechanical drive, so it would be rather clunky to start up. You'd have to add some kind of solid state, something or another, and I don't know if you could really do that. Yeah, I mean, so here's an off-the-shelf system. It would cost you what, roughly the same, and it would have some gotchas when you went to update it too. 4 gig. Let's see. Specifications. Serial ATA. Does it say how many 350 watt power supply? That's a problem too. Another gotcha. Serial ATA, PCIe 16, not available. Wait, what? 2 PCIe 1. Wait, there's a... Or is it not available because the graphics card is already in there? Wimpy dogs outside, you might hear them whimpering and barking. So 10, 100, 1000, 7.1 channel, ooh, integrated audio. Of course I have that now too, so who am I complaining? Yeah, see here, 4 gig times 1, so 2 slots for memory, same as the gotchas with the boards and things like that. 4 gigs DDR4. Not really seeing anything for serial ATA ports on that itty bitty motherboard there, but So yeah, we've looked at this and we've seen that it has its gotchas. So here's the stupid part. How are you supposed to use the other two 5 1/4 bays on this computer if there's nothing for, I guess you have to look at a motherboard upgrade or something? CMOS, SPDIF, there's pins for the front headers, and then there's, oh, that's a 20 pin thing, so all the serial ATA comes in here. Can we zoom any more? Yeah, is there another jack? Is these two more SATA ports kind of hiding in the shadows here? Okay, let's take a screenshot of this and jack up the brightness in Picasa now. Woohoo! That looks like a SATA port. So it looks like you could bring in an SSD. You just don't have really much options for making use of all that space in the case. All things considered, though, this probably gives you a better upgrade path for gaming hardware and more high-end stuff than that Super Combo does. And you start out with, what, roughly the same costs and whatnot? Plus, the only catch is that Windows 10 license is probably OEM to match the motherboard, so you'd probably have to use this as is and then have to switch licenses or something if you wanted to upgrade. But you would have an upgrade path, and the upgrade path for this, even though it has gotchas just like the other one, is probably better with this than with that Super Combo with the mini tower. But that, folks, is why folks like myself still build our own computers in the year 2016. These little gotchas with the off-the-shelf systems and even the so-called bargain combos that still exist. Back when I was building the Silver Bullet for the first time, the Silver Bullet using bare-bone kits would have had gotchas. And today, whether you go off-the-shelf, except for maybe the Asus M series or the Lenovo box, like what I got for Dad, but that had some gotchas too. Whether you go off-the-shelf, or whether you, of course, we're also looking for i5 6500. There's probably some better starter computers that you can get all in one shot and be done with it and have an upgrade path to go from there. But the thing is, these off-the-shelf systems and even these so-called bargain combos have their gotchas. So there is still some kind of merit to building your own system from scratch. And that, folks, is why we build. Back to goofing around with the computers I actually do have. This is MultimediaJay, signing off. Thanks for stopping by.